Hello, my friend. Brant Phillips here, and today I'm going to go over one of the most important questions that private lenders have when they're just getting started. And if you're experienced, you should always be asking this question: how is my investment secured? Okay, so this should be the number one question when you're looking at doing a deal, when you're looking at lending to a borrower. How is my investment going to be secured? Okay, me when I am acting on as a lender on my own deals, that's the number one question I have. Now, the good thing is that a majority of deals, I'd say 98% of them, have the same security, in terms of single family deals. So what are we looking for? Okay, so the real estate is your security. Okay, the real estate is your security, and I'll get into some of the details about that. But as one of my lenders told me once, like, I understand the real estate is the security, but you, the borrower, are my real security, because if anything happens here, I need to know that I can trust you. So this the adjoining security is going to be your borrower in every single deal. I don't care how good the real estate is. But that real estate, let's talk about that. And I want to focus on single family property, okay, because that's what a majority of private lenders do. And that's what I typically advise people to do and get started there. You get into the commercial side of things. The principles and the fundamentals are, for the most part, the same, but there's definitely some nuances and vocabulary and stuff that we don't need to get into today. So let's say, for example, that you're loaning to a single family real estate investor to either do a fix and flip, like buy a single family home, fix and flip it, buy a single family home to rent it out, or possibly Airbnb. One of those scenarios which are the most common. So number one, the first thing that you should be looking for is this property closing at a title company? Okay, there are some states and some situations where an attorney table closing is okay, meaning that attorney is going to close it, act as the closer for the deal. And this is different states. I don't know which states off the top of my head, but there's some states where that's fine, where the attorney is handling that closing, and you want to make sure that everything is going to be above boarded with the title company or with an attorney. So that's number one. Number two, what is the loan instruments? What are the loan documents that are going to also bind your agreement? Okay, so there's going to be a mortgage. There's going to be a mortgage, or also known as a promissory note. At least, especially in the state of Texas, it kind of outlines, this is how much I'm lending to this person. This is the interest rate. This is the maturity date. All those types of details. And then these are things that you'll receive and review before closing. Then when at closing, there's going to be a deed of trust. So that deed of trust is going to be filed, right, with the county and recorded that you are that lender, right, of record. And so that if that borrower defaults for any reason within the guidelines of y'all's loan terms, right, like that is how you're going to get that property back. Okay, those are some of the big ones. Then we dig into the title commitment, the title policy. How do we know that this buyer has the right to buy this property with clear title, that the seller truly owns it and all that's cleared up? So you're going to want a title policy or title commitment. And then as extra security, you're going to ask for a lender's title policy, okay, ensuring your position as the lender. Okay, then let's add on some other additional securities. You want an insurance policy, meaning the borrower has insurance on the property. So there's a couple of ways that you can do this. Number one is, and this is what we require on most instances, where we want that insurance policy paid in full for the first year. Okay. Now, some investors may give you pushback and things like that, but that is something we like to have for peace of mind. We don't want to be chasing around every month wondering if they made a payment, and I would encourage you to do the same. Now, there's some exceptions like that. Like our inventory is constantly turning and churning and things like that. So we have some commercial policies set up for insurance. So some lenders are kind enough to make some exceptions with us, but we have a process with our team to make sure that they know that all of our properties are insured. So that's going to be the next piece. If the borrower is doing repairs on your property, repairs on their property, okay, they're going to be renovating and rehabbing this property. I would encourage you to ask them for a scope of work. Say, hey, if I'm going to loan you, say, $50,000 on top of the purchase price to purchase this home, what's being done with those $50,000 that I'm lending you? So, scope of work is definitely something to help safeguard your position, and ideally like a reputable line itemized scope of work in the event. Why? Like, what if something happens to them? What if they do default and you've got to step in, you and whatever contractor, and say, hey, this is a scope of work. I can get this work done for this amount. So you want a valid scope of work. Okay. I would also encourage you to require a survey. I know a lot of investors buy property without getting a survey. We don't do that. If we're not buying a brand new survey, that means there was already a survey provided by the seller that the title company has approved, stamped, and warranted, saying, yep, the survey's good, and they'll stamp their approval on it. If not, we're buying a survey. So that would be another non-negotiable for me as a lender, and I would encourage you to do the same. So those are some of the big check boxes on how to safeguard your investment and make sure it's secured. And then that adjoining piece, right, is your borrower is not technically the security, but they really are. Okay, because they can have the greatest deal in the world, but even with the greatest deal in the world, sometimes things go sideways, things get hairy, things happen. And if that borrower is not someone of good character and integrity, it doesn't matter how good that deal is. So you also want to spend some time vetting out that borrower. What is their experience? What is their background? Do they have references? Things like that. So those are some of the big, most important things that you want to do when you're thinking about doing an investment with a borrower. And you as a private mortgage lender, you want to make sure that your investment is secured. And the last piece I'm going to add on top of this, threw a lot at you there. If you haven't read my book, The Private Lender Playbook, consider checking that out. It goes through in depth on all these things, but also make sure that you have someone looking over your shoulder, typically a real estate attorney or a fee attorney from a title company, that can kind of look over and make sure, hey, all the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, all that kind of thing, all those types of things, make sure those are getting done so that whenever you send that wire, whenever you, and we can talk about wire too. I wasn't planning on talking about that. Make sure that you are double, triple checking, talking personally to your title company, that you're not getting some random email to send a wire. There's a lot of fraud going on. So you can check all these boxes and then send your money to the wrong place. Be careful. So you want to double, triple communicate. If you're sending money, that money goes to title companies, or on occasion to that fee attorney or to that attorney that's helping with the closing. It does not go to the borrower the way that we do a majority of our transactions. There's a few little nuances on loan modifications, things like that, but it's rare. Okay. So you want someone in your corner, not the borrower's corner, in your corner, okay, that's looking over your shoulder, making sure that everything is done properly, that nothing is falling through the cracks, so that whenever you make that investment, you can sleep good at night. Because if you can't sleep good at night, like, what good is the investment? So I hope that was helpful for you, kind of in looking for the ways that you can safeguard your investments. And if you guys ever have any questions, you know where to find me. Click on a link, make a phone call, fill out a form, what have you. I'm around, I'm here. And if you have any questions that you would like answered specifically, hit me up. Love to help, do my best to help, because like that is like ultimately my goal with this, is being an advocate for you guys as private lenders, making sure that you're able to realize the opportunity here, which is a great opportunity, so much better than Wall Street when you do it the right way. So just make sure that you safeguard your investments.